I'm asking the question if all drugs should be legal for adults to use if they choose to. And I pose this because currently there are a variety of drugs that if an adult ingests it, they can be charged with a misdemeanor or felony, depending on the jurisdiction. It can pretty much make someone's life a lot harder. And I don't condone illegal activities. I hope that all people can be law-abiding citizens, and I hope that unjust laws are repealed. But there is a book called Our Right to Drugs, The Case for a Free Market by Thomas Sawes. I'd recommend that book. It seems to me that as long as an adult is not hurting anyone else and is not stealing or violating the rights of others, then they should be allowed to ingest any drug that they want to. Of course, ingesting that drug may have negative consequences potentially, but many things that are legal have potential negative consequences or negative consequences. And again, I'm not promoting illegal activity. I think we should change unjust laws. But just like we have freedom of religion, and I think this is a common sense argument, a common sense line of reason, we have freedom of religion, and people can misuse religion to justify horrible things. In the past, Catholicism during the Inquisition had been used as justification to torture people. Some people use certain religions today as justification to harm others physically. It doesn't mean people shouldn't be allowed to choose what they believe, because it gets used as a vehicle for harming others. Same thing with drugs. I think that line of reasoning applies, and I think this can be pretty common sense. And I've heard Thomas Sawes make reasons similar to these. Quite frankly, I pretty much just skimmed the Our Right to Drugs book. But, again, I think a lot of people make this argument. Again, as long as you're not hurting others, you should be able to ingest what drug you want to. You can go to a hardware store and buy dangerous chemicals, or, driving a car can be dangerous. Or there are, wing suits that, people use. They do base jumping, or and they use a wingsuit, and that's extremely dangerous. But it's legal, in a lot of places. So I simply think that we should promote freedom and personal responsibility, rather than just freedom and then treating adults like children. We should, and treating adults like children is in telling them what they can and cannot put into their bodies, and not allowing them to potentially experience the negative or positive consequences of that. But you can go to a hardware store and buy power tools that can be dangerous, but again, you need to know how to use them so you can use them responsibly and safely and intelligently. And drugs, I think, are almost more similar than different in that regard. They're definitely different. They're a different thing. So I don't think it's an apples to oranges argument, but maybe more of a pluot to apricot. A pluot is, I think, a plum and an apricot, and of course, an apricot is an apricot. So it's not an apples to oranges argument, but maybe it's a plum to pluot argument, or apricot to pluot argument, so to speak. So, yeah, again, I just want to emphasize that I'm making this to try and help create a more just society. I'm making this and presenting this for you to watch, in the hopes that we can have a more just and fair society where we promote both liberty and personal responsibility, rather than emphasizing liberty at all costs, or in many cases, and then not allowing certain liberties because we don't want to let people utilize personal responsibility. Something like that. Anyway, I think I'll end it about there. So I'm guessing you know where I stand after I make this. And again, what I'm saying here is only I'm not representing anybody else's ideas except my own. I'm not, as in I'm not speaking for anyone else. But there's probably people that agree with me. But yeah, again, I hope we can have a more just and fair and right society. So I'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, watch my other videos, visit my websites, and have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night, wherever you may be.